Here's my Insta 360 X4 with the broken lens on the rear camera, which is what I'm trying to replace here in this video. So these lenses are available through Amazon and AliExpress. Using my heat gun and this tool, I went over and removed this top piece because it's glued all the way around on outside. So now I'm trying to carefully lift it off. You can see on this corner the glue is still on. So here it is. To further disassemble, I have to remove all these screws and take this top cover out. All the screws are out now. So one of the screws is very long, and that long screw goes right here in this hole. And this cover comes off. All the seal and electronics are underneath. There's a thermal paste pretty much everywhere I see. So there's a ribbon cable for this light that blinks on the front. So this ribbon cable, if you see the flap is like, it's like a tab, that black tab. It has to be lifted up before you can pull out the ribbon cable. You can see it's lifted up now. When it's holding down, so then it's pressed down. So let me pull it. I have to hold the camera as well. This is what it looks like. It is assembled. So that was actually the thermal paste here, here. All these ICs that heat up, and you see the other side camera, which is here mounted on this plate, and there's a thermal paste on that plate. And this camera thermal paste was right here. So there are two ribbon cables. One is for the mic, so this thin one is for the mic, and it goes right into this hole. You see this tab? You gotta flick this tab up before you could remove it. And this ribbon cable is just attached right here. It's click in, just like this one's clicked in, this one's clicked in. So this ribbon cable clicks in right here. So I'm just gonna take out these 4 screws to remove this camera out to access that ring. So the camera is finally out, and I see there's another O-ring on this aluminum lens hold down ring. Another thing that I see is this aluminum ring. If you see right here on the bottom, it's held with some silicone or some glue. So I'll have to scrape that off before I can twist out this aluminum ring. Or I will have to just cut it out with this side snips or something. So what I see is this aluminum ring is held on with something more stronger than a silicone. It's like not a melted on plastic, but an epoxy, probably a hard epoxy. So what I'm doing is I got a file and a cutting blade to cut through that aluminum on one side, so then I can just peel this aluminum ring off of this. So after cutting in through that aluminum ring, I am at a point where I can see those threads. I don't know how clearly you can see in the video, but that's where those threads are, where it's screwed on. So I'm gonna go past those threads a little bit. So, or maybe I'll just try with the needle nose pliers to pick this ring outwards. I took my needle nose pliers, held on to one side and lifted it off. So just to show it to you, but but I'm gonna completely lift it off. See, that's where the glue is breaking apart, the epoxy that they put on before screwing in this ring, so that while you're using this camera under vibration, so that this ring doesn't come off loose by itself. So that's why they have that epoxy on. Here is the ring in my hand, and that's where the epoxy is lifting off. This is the threaded part of the camera, the plastic that aluminum ring threads onto. So I'll go ahead and order my lens and ring. I just wanted to be sure that if I will be able to remove it. So now since I have removed it, I'm just gonna order the parts for it. And then I ordered both two different colored thermal paste stickers, I would say, pads actually. So they come in two different thicknesses. There's a thin one and a thick one. I will be using the thick one on this between the camera and this aluminum plate, heat dissipating plate. So I took a lens cleaning cloth and cleaned the surface here, the lens surface. So this o-ring, small o-ring, sits right here, and then goes the lens on top. Once you put on the lens, then this ring screws on here. Holding the lens and the o-ring in place. Perfect. See, looks brand new. So it's held by 4 screws that we removed. Took a scraper and scraped off the old thermal paste, just like this. Once I clean it with this wet wipe, the lens cleaning wipe, I have a lint-free towel here. Comes covered with this thin sheet of paper. So I removed it from one side and I'll paste it on. And now I'll remove the other side as well. It was hard to align up the gasket here, so I had to remove everything again. I'm just gonna put this in place and then install it back again. So this is how the o-ring settles down. This is the tab that I was talking about, where it sits in only in one direction. Second tab and then the third tab. So I put in those four screws holding the camera in place. So now I'm gonna paste this thermal paste. I cut 4 squares matching each size.
And then you only have Aries one drive. How how about uh, how about service one drive? The one, the links which I am sending you, are you able to open those? So, so those are the under service OneDrive links.
So I'll remove the second layer now.
Yeah, just I will send you. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Bye. So, yeah. Okay.
So now this ribbon has to go into that slot. So once it's in the slot, there's a lock on the bottom. And secondly, this tab. Here we go, it just clicked in. So now then there's a third one here. This one for this front light. Once you get it going a little bit, or second thing you could do is get your needle, I mean not the needle nose, the tweezers. Shove it in with the tweezer and put the lock downwards. Now you can do a tug test just to try to pull it out. Before we put it all together, before we assemble it any further, we can always try turning it on. Let's try turning it on before we do anything. Oh yes. So then there's another white O-ring that goes around before this piece gets glued on. I don't have this glue. I'll have to order it, but for now I'm just gonna put it in place like that. So until I get that glue, I have a rubber band put on. So here's the lens cover. Let's put in the battery.